Hi, I'm Emma from Unique Phoenix. I'm a transformation coach, healer, speaker, author, and an unapologetic, curious soul. Connected Conversations is here to bring love, healing, and connection to our everyday life through open and authentic conversations. Every conversation, I am privileged to interview women and men in our community that are here being their authentic selves, sharing their unique and wonderful talents with the world around them. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we can get to know them better and what they offer through this connected conversation. Stay with us.
Hi everyone, my name is Pip Coleman and I come to you all the way from Phillip Island. I am a Reiki Master and intuitive coach, and I also run meditation classes and lots of lovely healing therapies as well. And I am the creator of the Divine Alignment Code, which is a coaching program designed specifically for Earth Angels who are frustrated, feeling disconnected, lost. If you feel like you're off your path and you're a bit like, you know, out there and in the wonderland or the hinterlands of not knowing yourself very well, then the Divine Alignment Coaching Program is probably for you. And there's 5 sections to this beautiful program, and it's all about aligning yourself. So if you would like to get in touch and get reconnected with yourself, then you can talk to me at pipcoleman.com, which is my website, or you can come on over to Facebook and check me out at Pip Coleman Author Coach.
Hey there, and welcome to Connected Conversations. I'm incredibly excited to have Pip Coleman here today. Connected Conversations, as I've mentioned, is about bringing healing, love, and connection to our everyday lives with open and authentic conversations. Now, Pip Coleman, whoo, what a powerhouse you are, honestly. I'm going to read it because, quite frankly, there's a lot, right? So I know that your coaching program is the Divine Alignment Code coaching program. We'll get into that. That's amazing. Pip has absolutely created this signature program that she's got. Phenomenal. A Reiki Master healer and trainer. Let's not, miss that little aspect. Bowen Therapist, Reiki energy healing, meditation classes, psychic development, and an author. Whoa!
Yeah.
Amazing. And Pip and I have been connected for a long time through our business groups, which has been absolutely phenomenal as well. And I've loved being connected to Pip and watching your journey, honey, because from when we've known each other, we've both grown exponentially. And our business confidence as well, which has been phenomenal. But to see you move through all the different stages and see just shining at the moment. So I'm so excited to have you here. And today we're going to focus our topic, and of course, who knows, it's a connected conversation, could go anywhere. But we really are going to be looking at healing and compassion, because I'm really excited to hear your take on compassion. I know you've had to definitely move through that, not just from a personal aspect, from a business aspect as well. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm going really well. Surprisingly well, considering our state of the world at the moment. Last year I really struggled with all of the craziness of lockdowns and how do you run a business that's all in person when you can't see anybody in person. So that was really, yeah. So compassion, it's a good topic to talk about because that is definitely what was needed and is still needed at the moment. But yeah, business is going great this year. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm feeling much more secure and sure of where I'm going now, which is amazing. So yeah.
It is nice when you come into alignment of where you're meant to be and who you're meant to be serving, and also you're making sure that you're serving yourself as you go, because it's you know, it's the nature of energy exchange. Being of service is being of service to yourself too. I'm really intrigued first and foremost, because I want to know, because I know your background, and you know that's a whole different story. You've got a whole book on that, people can read it, and that's amazing. I want to know the part, how did you move into being an intuitive coach and healer? Like
yeah, well, it's sort of we have to sort of rewind the story a little bit to I guess it was when I was working on cruise ships, which is the book is called Finding My Soul at Sea. So it's about my journey of self-discovery and that spiritual sort of shift that happened when I was working on board in that crazy environment for 6 years. And so the first 3 years was all about the crazy behind, you know, just freedom of everything, and nobody knows you and you can do whatever you want kind of stuff that happens when you're traveling. And then the second half of the book is about the 3 years where I started to go, as much as I love this travel thing and I like all these people and these places, I feel like I need some soul. There needs to be some soul brought back into my life and sanity into this space of craziness. So I started to teach meditation classes and personal development type classes on board the ship as part of my job. And it was just for me really, so I wouldn't go insane. And that was really the beginning of my teaching, sort of practicing being a teacher, because prior to that I had been working in sales, working in retail, working in lots of different things, travel, like, you know, people stuff, but not so much in the spiritual sort of realm and the intuitive sort of realm. And it was then that I moved into the space of, maybe I should learn some more stuff around this. And the guests were saying to me, you could do this as a job on land. You know, people would love to do what you're teaching us here and pay you for it. And it sort of made me go, oh, really? People would like me to do this, like, for a job? And they were like, yeah, you should read this book and try this thing and go to this course. And they were all in the United States, so all of these things that they were suggesting. And so I went home to Australia going, I probably could do some of this stuff here. So I ended up doing an angel intuitive course when I got home to Australia and started to get tapped into that intuitive side of myself that I hadn't really connected with before. To that degree, to that sort of level. And that was sort of the opening up, or more of an opening up, that sort of happened as I went into the space of, this is not just something I can do for me, this is something I can do for other people. And then I did my extra levels of Reiki training, and then I did the Bowen Therapy for the body alignment, and it just grew. It grew organically from there. I was still doing, I called my side hustle the bits where I was doing all the sales jobs still. I was still working in that traditional job for a long time, but really my true calling was doing this work and coaching people and teaching people to reconnect with their divine self. So that has evolved into 100% of what I do now, but it wasn't 100% of what I was doing, 15 years ago. So it's amazing how it all evolves out of just an interest in something that is inspiring to you, something that you're passionate about.
Yeah. Oh, look, I absolutely can fully relate to that. That's definitely part of my journey, is just a natural curiosity and continually asking the questions and keep leaning into those passions, that interest, and knowing that you can, well, not knowing at the time, I didn't know that I was going to serve people through it, but and the healing that you do along the way, Pip, can you speak about that? Like, how have you moved through that? Like, what's it done for you?
Look, the energy of tapping into that spiritual side and that intuitive self, because I grew up in a family that was more practical. My mum's very pragmatic, practical woman, and my dad, although he was brought up in a Catholic family, was not practicing as that. He was sort of more of a skeptic, really, to be honest. And so we didn't have that spiritual element in our lives at all. There was no real discussion on that level. It was very, this is who we are, we're humans and we do this, and my mum's a nurse, you know, it was very practical sort of family. And so I didn't ever feel like I was missing something, but then I started to go, well, there has to be something more than just the earthly things, doesn't there? You know, and so when I went to university, I started asking questions. You know, I met people who were doing philosophy and asking those sort of esoteric questions. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I've not thought of life in this way before.
Yeah.
So getting into this space of intuitive connection and understanding myself on that, it's like a piece of the pie was missing, but I didn't know that a piece of the pie was missing, you know.
And how many clients feel that way? How many of your clients, my clients, how many clients feel that way? And they get to working with you and then go, oh my God, I didn't even know that was available to me. I didn't know that I could do that, feel that, be that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember doing a personal development workshop with someone, and they did that, the pie. I don't know if you've ever done it, where you write down the segments of your life. So, you know, your health, your relationships, your work, blah, blah, blah. And it had a spiritual section in the pie. And I was going around going, yes, 100%, my relationships are great, and my whatever, you know, I was doing my work, my homework. And I got to the spiritual section and I went, I don't even know what that means. How do I even answer that question? Yeah. I thought spiritual was just connected to religion. And so I didn't get that you could be spiritual and not be religious, because that I didn't realize there was even possible to have a separation between those things. So that was really interesting to me when I started to have that journey of, oh, wait, I can be connected. I can be, you know, understanding of my intuitive self. I can be, you know, energetically, you know, reaching out to people and connected to departed loved ones. And I've got guides. I have guides. I have angels. Oh my God. You know, all these things that were so new to me. And I was 23, 24, 25, starting to get these like aha moments, you know. It was a huge revelation to me that was even available to me. So I love being able to give that to other people, that guess what, there's actually a part of you that you may never have even tapped into. And for some it's the spiritual, and for others it's maybe they've never tapped into their bodies. Maybe their pie is full of spirit and full of this, full of that, but they're just not connected to their bodies at all. And so we need to do their alignment. Their divine alignment is actually connecting their like woo-woo self to their this physical body that we're actually living in. You know, we have to create that connection again on a different, everybody's different.
You know what, I 100% agree with you. And because there's got to be a practical side as much as there is this, you know, connection, you know, connected side, because we are in a body. You know, we are. And I totally agree with you. I think people can get caught up in either side. There's got to have that come into balance. Get to know your body, understand. I absolutely fully agree, because what does that look like when someone is, you know, connected to spirit and like, whoa, I'm out here somewhere, and actually like not listening to body, not what's that look like?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, everyone's disconnection looks different and everybody's connection looks different. So usually people are feeling like the world is going on around them, but they are in one of those movies where, you know, everything slows down around them and they're like, ooh, like that. Or they're the one that's kind of going through the molasses, like they're kind of moving really slowly, and everybody else seems to have themselves sorted out and they're all calm and peaceful. So it's when you feel like you're not in sync with the rest of the world, that it doesn't matter whether it's which part of your life is not working. It's when you feel like, you know, the cogs of using lots of analogies today, but you know, the cogs of the wheels in the back of your watch are not, they're slipping, you know, and it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's working. So
I often liken it to people will feel in two different ways. Either the world is happening around them and they're not feeling fully connected, or it's happening to them. It's almost like an over-connection, like it's all. And so the balance is coming back into it's just happening.
Right. Yeah.
Life's just happening. So yeah, I often find that with clients and just talking to friends that, you know, when they're in the mode of it's happening to me, like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's get a bit connected, or it's happening around me, then there's not a lot happening here, connecting in here. But I agree with you. It is different for everyone and the different levels and how it shows up. And I think that's why the work that you do is incredibly important, because it's individual. So it's finding out where, and I can relate to that in my own business as well, and the coaching I do. It's related to where they're at right now and to that person, and to connect in to what they need. And you know, like it's not knowing you and knowing the work you do, it's not cookie cutter. You know, you might have steps they're moving through, but there's so much scope in there to serve the individual as you go and to bring their needs out.
Yeah, because I was watching something. I've been doing the Body Groove dance app lately, and she said the other day something that really resonated with me, that your you know, everybody else's way is not your way. And if you keep feeling like you're failing in the world, if you're failing at everything, it's because you're trying to be like somebody else all the time, trying somebody else's technique, trying somebody else's dance moves, trying somebody else's whatever way of being, husband, wife, whatever it is. But if you do you can't fail at that. And I just really loved that that kind of reframe, you know. And I've said it to people a couple of times in the last you know, couple of days since I heard her say that. I'm like, yeah, that's right. We can't fail if we're being completely us.
I love it, because this is an easy segue for me. You just handed it to me, right? So I'm going to go for it, because you know, I've written about it. It's work that I do. Comparison is crushing. Comparison is the joy killer. And on the other side of that, because I mean, and I agree with you, there is absolutely no comparison. Like there's only one you, there's only one me. No one else speaks, does, whatever. So even though there might be numerous amounts of coaching, and actually just for the audience's understanding, Pip and I actually work in very similar worlds in terms of who our clients might be and the work that we do, coming at it from our very own different perspectives, and downloaded our own, you know, beautiful, unique way of helping people align and come home to themselves. But I love, we're not comparing, because you're Pip, I'm Emma, and we, you know, do our own thing. And the clients that love and want to be with you are going to find their way to you, and the ones that are attracted and want to find their way to me will do that. So in that, if I was comparing myself to you, I'd be like, oh my God, I've got to do this. But there is no comparison, because it's a joy killer. And I don't know about you, I'm not killing joy in my life. So then on the other side of that, the joy creator is compassion. Love that segue. It's a good one. And you brought it to me. You handed it to me on a platter. Because when we're in comparison, zero compassion. Zero compassion lives there. Definitely. But when we're in compassion, zero comparison lives there. Definitely. So when we're in a state of compassion, what does that mean to you?
Compassion it's so interesting, because it is, I was thinking about the word judgment keeps coming up, that if we're in the space of compassion, then we are not judging, and that's where, you know, I think judgment is, you know, lives with comparison. You know, when we compare ourselves to someone else, we're not only we're judging them, we're judging ourselves as well. You know, there's this judgment and criticism that comes up, whereas in that space of compassion, there isn't the judgment, there isn't the criticism, and there isn't you know, those feelings, like you say, the joy killing feelings that come up. So I guess for me, the really obvious thing that happened when I was writing the book, it was the actual writing of the book was a joy, and I had so much fun writing all the fun stories, and it was really cool. And then I got to the point where I was actually publishing the book, and I'd made the decision that we were going to publish. And you've published as well, so you know the feeling that you have when you realize there's a certain point where you realize everybody's going to read this. Like,
oh yeah,
everyone. And it's like, you know, when you have friends and you say, I'll tell you this part, but I won't tell you this part because you and I have a certain relationship, and so I'll tell you this and that will be great, but I won't tell you the rest of the story. It's like you edit for certain people.
100%, yes.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, not everyone gets your whole story.
Sure.
But in what you're saying right now.
But here you go. Here you have written out everything. And I have to say, you know, the book, especially the first part of the book, is very in your face in terms of, you know, the freedoms that I was exploring while I was working on ships, emotionally, sexually, you know, out there. You know, there was stuff that I was trying that I'd never tried before, and I shared that stuff in the book. And so here I am getting to the point where the book's about to be launched, and I suddenly have this realization that my aunts and uncles are going to read this going, oh, here's a story about Pip's time on cruise ships and la 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 la, and then it's going to be like, oh, you know,
today's they're getting everything.
And then I went, oh shit, Mum and Dad are going to read this. And anyway, and it's not that it didn't occur to me prior. It just didn't really hit me until I was about to launch, and I went, wow, this is really intense. And I had to go through a lot of, you know, my publisher said to me, the first thing you have to do every day is your personal development. You know, that was part of his coaching mentorship. His mentorship for the book was personal development first, because he knew that we're all going to be going, I'm freaking out. So this is important to come back to that space of compassion and go, that was what I was doing when I was 27, 28, 29, whatever the age was that I was doing it. This is how I was feeling. This is what I was doing. This was the exploration that I was having, and saying it and not feeling ashamed of it now is really, really important to claim back your life as yours, because whether mum sees it or a nana sees it or your sister sees it or your aunt or whatever, whoever sees it, your friends from high school who didn't even know you worked on a cruise ship, those people, that's the important thing, is you and how you feel about presenting that information. And why are you doing that in the first place? To claim it, to reclaim it as me, to be all of who I am, rather than segmenting my life and going, I was this, but I'm not going to tell anybody about that. This now.
And I definitely think that speaks to the work that you do, because once you've been, and I've definitely been through that process, I've put out some stuff that, and had to send it to my dad and my brothers and say, I've written this, I'm putting it out there. I'm probably going to add to it too. And so, you know, like I've had to share that with them because they're kind of part of the story that I put out.
Sure.
But again, the healing that offers, and the empowerment that offers, and then what that offers for you to give to your clients is, you know, the space that they can step into, and you also know how to do it. It doesn't have to be, you know, writing a book and putting it all out there. I liken that moment, right? And because I'm a mum, I have 3 kids, and I liken it to the moment when I was first pregnant and I got to the end of the pregnancy, right? Like it took me the whole 9 months to get there, right? But I got to the end, and suddenly I went, oh, Jesus, I have to give birth to this thing, like holy cow. And so I kind of thought about it. But like you're saying, when you get to that crunch time, so anyone who's, you know, delivered something new, done a presentation, it's that same thing, right? You're birthing a new idea and you're putting it out to the world and going, here we are. And that's no different from, you know, me having a baby. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually going to have to be a mum. I've got to push this thing out. What does that look like? So you know, and I think with anything that you do, even, you know, for men that are watching as well, you know, you think about those moments when you had to do something so incredibly new that really makes you vulnerable. It definitely adds a deeper level of compassion, because you have to have self-compassion within that. And again, what you offer your clients through that is, just because it isn't the same experience, the experience of stepping into the depth of compassion that you've needed to. Wow. I do want to ask you, because you have mentioned it, and I love that you've got to this point about it. It's absolutely one of the things that I fully believe about compassion. And you're right, we desperately need it in this world right now. It's a skill set, in my belief, and how I teach it to clients is it's a skill. And yes, we're born with it, but we're also then, it's unraveled for us.
Right. Yeah.
So as it was for you. And so coming back to your story. So how does compassion bring freedom for your clients?
Good question. The thing that sort of comes to mind in terms of freedom is the ability to choose for yourself how you feel, how you act, how you respond to the people in your world. It's choice, you know, and if you have compassion for yourself, you're coming from that place of, I choose to be loving, or I choose to listen, or I choose to leave you for me, for myself, you know.
Powerful.
And that is, it's an interesting, that is not the answer that I was going to give when I first thought about how we were going to talk about this today, but it came to me just then. And when we have these conversations, I love it, because it does take our conception of things to another level when you speak to somebody who is working with people on that same level, but in a different way. So yeah, that's probably how I would answer that question.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you've also just hit that really good point, and that amazing point again, is because we're in such deep compassion of self, I have deep compassion of you. So if I see something that you're doing, I of course want to celebrate that. Yeah, I want to celebrate the wins and what you do, and I love what you do in the world, and it's amazing, and it's so needed. So compassion just ultimately brings this awesome freedom of, I don't care what the other person's doing, because it is my choice how I feel. It is my choice, you know, how I choose not to judge people and put myself, you know, I heard once it described as this, and I definitely love it. And there's a larger thing that I do in teaching it, but here's the snapshot is, when we're in real compassion, we've taken our shoes off. Yeah, because then we've left the stories, left the judgments, left anything of us behind, taking our shoes off and just sitting there and listening. Yeah. So being in compassion of self is take shoes off. And your book took your shoes off, metaphorically.
Yeah. It's amazing. That whole process was, you know, when you talk about growth and how each person sort of works through, you know, you might read a self-help book or listen to a podcast, or you might go to a workshop or do a course, and each time you're what I call up-leveling, like you're taking your energy, your knowledge to the next level. You know, I went to university, you know, when I was 18, 19, 20, that sort of time, and I up-leveled and learned about psychology the way back then, and I really was fascinated with people and how people work and how they are how they interact with each other and why they do things to each other that hurt the other person, and how that happens. How does someone perceive being hurt, and how does someone perceive being judged and criticized, and is it actually even happening, you know, or is it just in your mind? And, you know, all of those things that I've learned, each thing is sort of, you know, you gradually learn more things and you put more things in your basket, in your toolbox. This book was another up level for me in terms of, I didn't expect it I thought it'd be fun to write a book. I didn't realize it was going to blow my mind in terms of taking me to the next level of understanding myself. I had no clue that that's what was going to happen. I was really surprised by the process and how challenging it was in the end, as I was, putting it out there. It's just really interesting how things evolve in a way that you don't expect when you start to commit to growth and learning more about yourself.
Yeah, dive into the curiosity and like let it lead you, like up that little garden path and beyond. And it's exciting. Things I've learned just being like, oh, go in this direction. And even just learning what not direction to go in.
Yes.
I've done some, courses and stuff over the years, and I'm like, that's a no. That style is a no for me. So, and that's as important to understand. So I actually want to understand more the different aspects of your business and kind of just break them down. And obviously, just to give a snapshot, because I don't think people really know, like I hear it all the time. I say Bowen Therapy. My uncle he's, on the other side of Melbourne down in Geelong, but lots of people still don't know what Reiki is, what Bowen Therapy is. You said it before, is it Intuitive Angel? Is that?
Oh, the card, are you talking about the card readings or the Angel Intuitive course that I did? Yeah.
So, can we just break those down a little bit so to understand them a little bit more? Because, I know that they're tools that you bring into, I know for me when I do coaching, it's just all in,
Yeah.
But people can come to you for those individual things as well. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So let's start with Reiki. What's Reiki? How would you talk about Reiki?
Yeah, so Reiki is an energy healing process. So I generally explain it to people as if you went for a massage and they were working on your physical body and doing, most people can understand what a massage is that there's manipulation of the muscles and there's actual physical touching of the body. So with oils and things like that. Whereas Reiki is an energy healing. So it's working on the energy centers of the body. And doesn't necessarily have to be touching, which means that people can stay fully clothed. And we're working more on the emotions, the mind, and the energy, raising the energy in the body. So unblocking anything that needs to be unblocked. And I guess I would describe Reiki, it means universal energy. That's what Rei and Ki means. It means universal energy. But I describe it to people like a loving hug. It's like a whole hour of being lovingly given lots of love and hugs, basically, because you feel so warm and so balanced and so nurtured afterwards. It's a very nurturing treatment. And sometimes there's tingling, sometimes there's warmth, sometimes there's just a feeling of deep peace when you have a Reiki session. So it just depends on the person. Some people feel very clear and focused and awake after they finish, and others feel very sleepy and relaxed. It just depends on what you need in your body at that time.
Yeah, what you've moved around and what's gone and all that kind of stuff. So then I love that. I love how you've described it. I think it's really clear for people to understand what Reiki is, and I think you and I are on the same page. Like, we need more.
Yeah,
love that you're a trainer of it, and
I love
it's exciting.
Yeah,
and once we can get back into being in person, because obviously I've done my Reiki courses and need to teach it in person. I'm not sure how people do it online. I'm not saying you can't, but
I agree.
For me, it was definitely an in-person experience that I needed, and you do sort of need someone to bounce off and to treat as you go in practice.
Yeah, that's right.
So then let's talk about Bowen Therapy, because I think this is a really underrated
very much so
treatment, and also unknown. So I love, when I saw, I'm like, yes, she does because I think it's a really beautiful treatment, very powerful. So how is tell us about that?
Yeah,
What's Bowen?
Bowen, I guess by sharing how I got to do Bowen is probably the best way to explain it a little bit. Is I went to a massage therapist to get my back sorted out when I was working at a hotel and hurt my back at work, and long time ago. And this woman was doing normal massage on me, remedial massage, and she said to me, you know what, I think we can do something that might help you shift not only the physical stuff that's going on, but also just tap into a slightly deeper level of healing. And I didn't know what she meant at the time. I didn't really understand what she meant, but I said, okay, I'm willing to try anything, because I wasn't healing. I wasn't shifting. I wasn't healing at all, really. I was just having massages every week and nothing was shifting. So she said, can I try Bowen Therapy on you? And I thought that we were going to do some talking. I thought we were going to talk, because she said therapy. And I was like, okay, so we're going to do some talking. She's like, no, it's a cross fascia releasing technique. So instead of massaging the muscles, I'm going to do this little rolling effect over the top of certain points and release the muscles. And also it's a little bit of meridian work as well in terms of energy. So we're going to do a couple of moves, and then I'm going to step away and let you just reset. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. She was like, so it's sort of like programming a computer. So you go, beep, 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 this is what I want your body to do, realign. And then I'm going to step away and let the body do it for 2 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and do another couple of moves. And anyway, that day was a huge shift for me. I really had a moment of like, oh my God, my body can do this itself. My body can actually heal itself. I don't need somebody to fix me. I need somebody to open me up so that I can fix me. And that's what I feel like Bowen does, is it gives you the opportunity to realize, to connect your heart and your body and everything, and go, oh, hang on a second. I actually know how to realign myself. I just need to be given the space to do it. And it's so amazing on that level. I've just had such great results from the Bowen moves for the body, and then throwing in a little bit of Reiki in that as well, it becomes a divine body alignment, which is what I call my physical sessions with people. I call them divine alignments, because I combine a little bit of Reiki with the Bowen, and that gives them the best of both worlds: mind, body, emotion, spirit, like it all gets reconnected, which is amazing. And it technically, Bowen Therapy, some people are very, you only do Bowen and you don't do anything else. But, each to their own. I just found that this has been more powerful for me and my clients to work on that level. So that's
I love
amazing.
Well, you're Pip Coleman, and so you've needed to make it your own, and that's absolutely beautiful. And the thing, I don't know if you find this around, I've spoken to Bowen therapists in the past, and I love them. They're like, it's not like a massage where you can keep coming back to it, like, because it is quite immediate, and it's not like you need to keep getting this done for 12 months. 9 times out of 10, you're getting 3, maybe 4 sessions. See ya.
Yeah.
Like, and in a really good way.
Yeah.
For me in my business and coaching, I don't want to see people for years. I haven't done my job if that's the case. So I do love Bowen Therapy for that, because you really get to shift people.
Yeah. I mean, I still have people who come to me on a regular basis for that self-nurturing. So they come.
But we're not talking every week or every month. We're talking.
Well, I mean, some people do come fortnightly, monthly, but for their own, just because this is the only thing they do for their nurturing, and sometimes there's more Reiki, sometimes there's less, it just depends on what they need in that moment. But it's great for injuries. I do have some people who come to me if they've injured themselves, like some sort of, not just sports people, but some people come to me and they're like, I've done my back again, and I'll do the 3 sessions and then I won't see them for 6 months. And then they'll go, oh, I've done my back again or whatever. My knee's gone out. And it's amazing. I've had people come in and they can hardly walk. and they'll say to me, I know that what I need is a Bowen, so I made my husband drive me here so that I could like have a Bowen session, because they know that as soon as their body has those little tweaks, it starts to realign, and it's usually only 1 or maybe 3 sessions in terms of injuries.
In terms of that particular self-care, that self-love is I'm talking a very, like a very separate it's a very separate area, that one.
Different thing,
but when we're talking about having, some sort of physical challenge, then it's amazing how immediate it is over such a short period of time. And that to me is amazing. Oh, absolutely. It's like anything. You still need to go and it's like getting a car serviced. You still need to service the body, you still need to nourish and look after it. And for some people
need more. Some people need more than others. Do you know, I saw the other day, speaking of sports people, one of the teams in the Olympics had a Bowen therapist on their team, treating them, because you can and there's some football teams, some AFL teams that have a Bowen therapist on staff as well as a physio to treat people as soon as they have their injury, so that they can go straight back onto the field again. If they twist an ankle or a knee or something, they can do Bowen on it and realign and actually get back on the field. It's amazing. It's not you don't see that as often as you should. I think there should be Bowen therapists everywhere.
Oh, look, it's one of the modalities I particularly love, and because of that aspect of it, it's and there's such a deep healing around it too. I love that you've combined Reiki with it though, because that completely different approach and a completely different level of healing as well, which is amazing. I do and so what was the Angel Intuitive? Tell me about that.
So the lady doesn't teach it anymore, but the woman that I went to do it with at the time was really was teaching people about how to tap into their connection to their angels, archangels, and other guides. And she called it the Angel Intuitive course, and it was a combination of a whole lot of different exercises, including some mediumship as well, like learning how to tap into those different energies that are around us, and reminding ourselves that we're souls in these bodies, and that we're incarnate souls, and then they are disincarnate souls, like connecting to all of those different energies. So she called it an Angel Intuitive course, and it was a certificate course. So I call myself an Angel Intuitive, and I teach people within the Divine Alignment coaching program and individually, and I even bring it into my Reiki training as well, that element of connecting with the divine in all of the ways that you can possibly connect with them, and whatever resonates with you is the thing that you can take with you, and off you go and add that to your toolkit. But if it doesn't resonate with you, then you leave it, so that's the Angel Intuitive is sort of an umbrella name, I guess, for all of the different intuitive exercises that I do, as in tapping into your intuition, your psychic abilities.
Oh, 100%. Definitely done. I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I also, there's something that I'm really picking up on with you, and because we are talking about it, I'm probably a bit more acutely aware of it, but I love the compassionate language that you continually use, and it's so authentic and just flows out of that beautiful face of yours that, you're talking about take what you need and move on, and that's such a huge compassion practice, isn't it? To say, oh, actually, I don't really need that right now, but I definitely need that. Or I can, there's a whole thing I'm being offered. I can take those little bits of it. Keep moving.
The more that I teach, the more that I coach, the more that I'm realizing that it's not all about me. And as much as I've created what I think is a great program, and you know, there's lots of lovely skills in there. There are people who are not going to resonate with everything that I talk about. And I need to come to a place of compassion for myself when I teach. I think the more that you teach other people, the more compassionate that you become, because you learn to, more compassionate I've become. I can't say the same for other people. Perhaps they haven't, but I find myself going, you know what, that didn't work for you. And I'm not offended by that. Like, I think some people, some students, and I don't know if you found this, but some of my students will go, I'm so sorry, I didn't get it. I didn't like it, whatever. And I'll be like, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's so cool. So you know what you don't like. And you did like this, you did like this. Oh, great. Yay. You know, and people will say to me, oh, I'm so confused and I don't know what to do. And I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so excited that you're confused. And they look at me like I'm crazy, because they go, nobody has ever clapped for me to be in crisis. You know, oh, yay, I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to leave my job. And I go, yeah, you know, and they don't have people celebrating them in those spaces very often. I know don't have people necessarily in my life, or I haven't in the past. I have people around me now who do. But in the past, I have had people who didn't celebrate, who just went down the rabbit hole of drama with me. And I was sharing with a client the other day, she said to me something about, oh, you know, I think I'm going to be made redundant and I'm really worried about that and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, this is such an amazing opportunity for you. I'm so excited. And she was like, what? And I was like, well, don't you think that's exciting? You can do anything you want. You know, you're getting a redundancy package, so you can do anything you want. And she was like, oh my God, I never thought of it like that before. I just
what
thought,
do you want to do?
I'm losing my job, right? And I was like, oh no,
what are you gaining?
You're gaining the world. Like, this is exciting. This is exciting. And she was just dumbfounded at like me cheering about her getting this, when everybody else in her life was going, that's the worst thing that can possibly happen. Like, they were all losing their minds. And she said, no one is doing that for me, which I thought was, it's a shame that we do that dramatization of things when it could be an amazing transformation for someone to lose their job, to have their marriage end. Could be a massive transformation that is the best thing that's ever happened to them, not the worst thing, you know. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's what compassion does. It gives you a different perspective, because you've got your shoes off, you can get rid of the stories and the judgment. And I think you made an interesting point before, though, and that's that point of attraction, and part of our healing process as well, that as we go along and we heal, and I'm with you, nobody needs to be fixed, somebody needs to be broken, right? But healing and healing from your stories and letting them go and moving through them and changing the story, 100% absolutely needed. But I do love that, and I've lost my train of thought, hate that. Oh, that's so funny, because I went off on my own tangent. There you go. I'm not going to take this out, people. You're going to see it.
That's the real us.
But now I do love that. Yeah, I know. This is real. I do love that it gives a new perspective. Oh, it's gone again. Must have been important. It must have been anything we needed. It'll come back if we really need it to. Oh, who you attract in your life. Got it. So do you find as you heal, suddenly there's different people that show up, and the more whole person you become, the more you attract. So it's an energy thing, isn't it? Like, because I've been around that. I've been drama. Loved it. Yeah. And that's the people that I had in my life. Drama. Very negative. Had lots of negative people. And I'm not saying negative's a bad thing, but as you move through and come home to self and understand yourself so much more deeply, and have that deep loving relationship with self, suddenly the people are different in your life.
Yeah. They become a reflection of who you are no longer.
Yeah, life is such a reflection, isn't it? And I often see that. I've got 3 kids, so they're a very quick reflection for me. That, if there's lots of chaos going on in the house, I'm like, well, hang on, is it from me? And I have to check myself first. And so the same goes in the relationships that are around me.
Yeah.
Hang on, what have I brought to this? And that's what you're giving to your clients when you say that. Hang on a minute, who are you being in this?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you get
Let's
a choice.
Look at you. Yeah. Yeah. I one of my clients used to come all the time talking about her partner. Like every single time it was like, he did this, he did this, he did this, he did this, and the whole session was filled up with her talking about him and all the things he's done wrong. And I said to her one day, we're really wasting time here, because all of the time is spent talking about what he's doing, and you're not giving yourself the gift of this time. We could be talking about what you need to do for you. And it was such an aha moment for her to do that she even picks herself up on it. She goes, oh, I'm talking about him too much again, aren't I? And so the next coaching session, she's like, and so I did this. And then when he said this, I thought this. And so she's so she's getting really good at looking at herself and going, then I got triggered because he said this, and so it's really cool to see her shifting through that responsibility thing as well, that taking responsibility. There's compassion in that too, that taking responsibility for your own stuff is a compassionate thing too. It can be hard to do, but it's something that needs to be done in that whole process, And then I was thinking forgiveness, when you bring forgiveness into that, I know you do a lot of work on forgiveness too, that, I've been given a beautiful process from a new mentor that I've met recently, and she's like all about forgiveness. And I'm like, I need to bring more of this into my coaching, because it's so powerful to bring that forgiveness and compassion to yourself. That healing forgiveness is so amazing to shift things.
Oh, look, absolutely. And they're values that I teach and share in my business. Absolutely. I've got courses around that as well, because they're not skills. We have to learn those skills. And, when you talk about responsibility, no one's born with that. You can't possibly get to the age of 18 without being completely not responsible, because you come as a baby. So you come with no responsibilities in life because you can't look after yourself at all. And someone's got to help you through that. So responsibility is a huge skill. And, I know how we both teach it is very much, hello.
Yeah.
Just saying. Look, my kids know when they come and talk to me and want to tell me about what their siblings have done, they have to start with I.
Yeah.
This was my part. I did this. I'm like, I don't care. If you're going to come and tell me what they did, I don't care. But if you come and tell me I did this, then I'll be willing to listen to the back end of that. Okay, cool. Well, hang on a minute. They must have had a role. We've always come back to that. With clients, it's, it's a different space. With kids,
although sometimes I wonder, I think that the skills that you learn as a parent and the skills that you learn as a coach are, sometimes I do feel like I'm speaking to them as if I'm a parent. Look,
definitely there are things that are interchangeable for me at times. And I know when I'm coaching parents that they'll take it into their family, which is particularly why I love coaching women and mums and dads, because of that reason, because then it's rippled into their families and their children. They can teach these skills as well, which is absolutely needed. But compassion is still a skill, because vulnerability, we're absolutely born with it, but it's definitely beaten out of us. Forgiveness, forgive and forget. I'd like to go back in time and smack that person. I think it was created, my theory is it was created for a person that needed forgiveness and wanted the other person to forget, so he just came up with that.
Okay.
Then I'm off the hook. No. So there's definitely values there that we obviously teach both of our clients, all of our clients, because they're so imperative. They're important skills to have. And I really want to, if people are taking one thing out of this, compassion is a skill, and it's something that you need to work on every day. Not just being compassionate with people around you, but stopping the judgment of self, comparing yourself to other people, because like, it'll kill your joy.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to know, in your day-to-day life, and you kind of answer this, but I really want to be direct about the question, and that is, what are your compassion practices? Like, how does it show up for you, and what are your practices?
Yeah, so there's the thing that's sort of been fairly consistent all the way through everything is meditation. So I have different meditations, but I use lots of different apps and things, but I've been playing with the Calm app lately. So I've been doing a meditation in the morning, and some of the sleep stories. I'm enjoying the sleep stories at the moment in the nighttime. And I got into that just recently because I really love Matthew McConaughey. And I heard that he did a sleep story on the Calm app. So I got the Calm app just for Matthew McConaughey. And for months, I was just listening to just him. That was all I was doing, because I love his voice, and it was really making me sleep well. And I thought, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. And then somebody said to me,
sorry. Can't even know myself. Sorry.
I know. And that's the thing, because they were like, you do realize that there are other people on that app other than
No, I don't know. What are you talking about?
Who cares? Who cares?
Look, whatever gets you there,
That's right. Turns out there is actually other people on there, but he's my go-to. But that has been amazing. That's been really cool, and it's always been sort of bookend my day with a nighttime meditation and morning meditation. That brings that compassion to me in those two ends of the day. And then another thing that I've started doing just recently, again more consistently, is the dancing, the body groove dancing, because it's dance your way, and it just makes me laugh. And she says funny things when she does the dancing. And so I love that, moving my body in a way that, I used to dance when I was younger and do competitions and all sorts of crazy things, but I haven't danced like that for a long, long time. And it's really beautiful to be able to move your body in a way that's loving and fun and light. And it also, I was moving into that space of needing to do things, particularly in this last 2 years with all the stress that's been around us, that space of, like I was riding my bike and I was going for walks, and I was definitely getting out in nature doing that. But sometimes in the morning, I feel like I'm getting to that worry space, that like, oh, what am I going to do today? What are they going to change today? What rules are going to be, like it's that sort of, nothing's even happened yet, and I'm already worrying about that. And I'm sure everybody has that same record going on in their brain. So I felt like I needed to shake it off, a bit like Taylor Swift, shake it out. And so I thought, what can I do that would be fun, that's not just standing there shaking? And I know there are people who do that as a thing, as a therapy, even you can do shaking therapy, but I wanted to do something that was connected with me and that was fun. And so the Body Groove app has been really cool lately. To my calf muscles are going, oh my God, you're jumping around. I'm like, yes, I am, calf muscles, because it's time for you to dance again. So I'm having fun. And the compassion also comes in with things like making sure that I connect with people. So I live by myself, so I go to my local cafe and I make sure that I talk to lots of people, and I go for a ride and I say hello to everybody that I ride past, even if they're in a grumpy mood, I say hello to them. And I'm fully try to engage in that space of connection, because for me that's really important.
Sorry, I don't know what's happened right now, but my earplugs. You've
lost your earplugs.
I don't know how this has come up. I'm so sorry. I think my Spotify has just started. That's hilarious. Lucky it's not a bad song.
I can't hear any songs, so it's
I could
obviously
hear
just
music
in your...
in mine, and I wondered
your
what the
ears.
recording, what the recording was going to be. Okay, good. We've still got you.
All right.
This has been a very
What was the song?
authentic and very much like, hey, showing up as we are. Well, I am anyway.
Was it a good song? Was it, maybe the song was important?
I don't know. I don't think I've listened to this. I listen to a lot of new artists all the time. I really try and listen to a new artist every week, and particularly Australian artists, because there's so much scope out of there, out in Australia, and some beautiful ones. And it kind of started my journey with a woman called Odette. I'm doing to hand that over. So if you haven't listened to her, go and find her on Spotify. Odette, amazing. And my kids and I saw her live, just phenomenal. So I think it was an Australian artist. I don't know.
Odette.
She is a beautiful artist, great performer. There's so much Australian talent in our that, I just wasn't even aware of. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to explore this.
That is really cool. And I wouldn't be surprised if you can tap back into that song, if you can work out what song's called, if it was relevant to what we were talking about anyway.
I was going to do that afterwards and pop it in the little blurb.
It'll probably be.
You might have a little interlude in there of music.
I can't hear anything, but I didn't hear
because it was in my headphones, so I don't know if it'll be in the recording. Otherwise, people will think we're crazy or I'm crazy. It's okay. I love that you have those beautiful compassion practices, and I mean, look, the healing that you offer is phenomenal. Like, the scope of what you do is incredible as well. So how do people reach you?
They can reach me through my website, pipcoleman.com, or you can come on over to Facebook and see me at Pip Coleman Author Coach. That is the easiest way.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And you'll find, if you stay with us, there'll be another little slide, another little image coming up, guys, so that you can that can come up as well. But if you're on the podcast, then write it down now. But all the details will be in the book. I'll share the links in there as well. What a joy it has been to have this conversation with you. And I had no idea where it was going to go, but I've loved it. I love what we're able to tap into, the depth in which we'll be able to, giving people an understanding of freedom and compassion and healing and just what's available to them. And what they can reach out to as well. Pip, you're an absolute powerhouse of a woman, and I have the utmost respect and love and admiration for you in the work that you do, in what you offer your clients, and just your insane curiosity that keeps you learning and feeding that back and serving your clients. So thank you for being of service to me today and sharing the beautiful time. It has been absolutely amazing.
Lovely to be here. Always. Thank you.
Thanks, Pip. Bye, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed Connected Conversations. And the details are in the blurb, and we'll catch you next time. And please remember, be yourself. There's only one of you, and you're absolutely needed. You're so important. And feel good for being it, because you're the only person that can. Bye, everyone.